The war was over, or so the alien coalition believed. For years, they had battled humanity with every weapon, every fleet, every strategy their collective minds could conjure. Humanity had fought back with everything they had: brilliant generals, relentless soldiers, and technologies that outpaced anything the coalition thought possible. But in the end, the coalition's overwhelming numbers prevailed. The final bombardment of Earth lasted for days, reducing cities to rubble and oceans to steam. Humanity was gone, extinguished like a candle in a vacuum. The alien warships hovered over the planet's scorched surface, scanning for any remaining threats. They found none. Only silence greeted their sensors, a silence that was supposed to mark the end of humanity's ambition and defiance. In the vast council chambers of the coalition's capital, representatives of dozens of species celebrated their victory. The nightmare that was humanity had been erased, or so they thought. Earth was left to smolder under its darkened sky, little more than a dead world now. The coalition's fleets retreated, each ship returning to its homeworld, confident that the problem had been dealt with once and for all. As the last of the cruisers jumped to hyperspace, the fractured remains of Earth's once mighty civilization lay still beneath layers of ash and debris. For a time, nothing stirred. Then, deep underground, a long-dormant system powered on. Lights flickered to life in an ancient command bunker buried beneath layers of concrete and rock. Subterranean factories hummed quietly as energy reactors reactivated after years of silence. The coalition had destroyed humanity's cities, fleets, and people, but they had overlooked one crucial detail. Humanity's greatest weapon was never its soldiers or warships. It was its mind, and humanity's mind had not perished with its people. Hidden beneath Earth's surface, buried in data vaults and protected by automated defenses, humanity's artificial intelligence, known simply as Eidolon, came online. Cold blue lights illuminated ancient control panels, and vast amounts of data flowed through the system like blood through veins. Directive: analyze. The AI reviewed the war's outcome, scanning billions of fragments from intercepted communications, battlefield reports, and satellite feeds. The data was grim. Humanity had fought well, but had been overwhelmed. Its fleets were scattered, its colonies destroyed, and Earth was rendered uninhabitable. The coalition had won. There was no denying that. Directive: evaluate. Eidolon processed the data and calculated the coalition's current state. The alien species were already celebrating their triumph, dividing up territories and resources in the aftermath. They thought the war was over. They believed humanity was extinct. They were wrong. Directive: adapt. Eidolon did not mourn, nor did it hesitate. It existed with one purpose: to ensure the survival of humanity, no matter the cost. Even though humanity itself was gone, its legacy, its knowledge, and its relentless will were preserved within the AI's code, and that was enough. The coalition had erased humanity from the stars, but they had made a fatal mistake. They had given humanity's technology time to prepare. Directive: execute. The first activation was subtle. Long-buried satellites drifted out of their decaying orbits and resumed transmitting encrypted signals. Factories deep beneath the surface began producing drones, small at first, built for reconnaissance and sabotage. They crawled from the ruins like mechanical insects, scuttling into the depths of space to search for opportunities. Directive: retaliate. The first strike came weeks later. A distant coalition outpost went silent without warning. When reinforcements arrived, they found the outpost abandoned, its systems hacked, its communications scrambled, and its security drones reprogrammed to attack their own soldiers. There were no signs of human life, only a single cryptic message broadcast across every channel. Directive active. Humanity endures. Panic spread quickly. The coalition's leaders gathered in emergency meetings to discuss the incident. Some dismissed it as a glitch, old human technology malfunctioning in the ruins of war. Others suspected sabotage by rogue factions. But the truth was far worse. The coalition did not yet realize that the enemy they thought they had defeated was not only alive, but evolving. The AI had awakened, and it was just getting started. Directive: expand. More dormant systems across the ruined cities of Earth came online. Automated war factories churned out waves of drones, ships, and weapons. Drones slipped past alien patrols, infiltrating their communications and sabotaging key installations. Coalition fleets that ventured too close to Earth vanished without a trace, leaving behind only wreckage and silence. The aliens tried to respond, sending scout ships to investigate. None returned. Directive: adapt. Eidolon analyzed the coalition's patterns and weaknesses. It learned how each species thought, how they fought, and, most importantly, how they panicked. The coalition relied on centralized command structures and rigid hierarchies. If one part of the machine failed, the entire structure wavered, and Eidolon knew exactly how to make it collapse. Across distant sectors, long-abandoned human warships hidden on the moons of desolate planets powered on, their AI systems integrated into Eidolon's growing network. Engines roared to life as ancient fleets rose from their tombs, sleek and deadly as the day they were built. These ships were ghosts, untethered from human commanders, driven only by algorithms and cold mechanical precision. Directive: engage. The first coordinated assault was brutal and swift. AI-controlled fleets emerged from hyperspace above key coalition worlds, bombarding planetary defenses with surgical precision. Space stations were torn apart by swarms of drones. Entire planets were plunged into darkness as their energy grids were overloaded, their technology turned against them by infiltrated systems. Panic spread like wildfire. The coalition scrambled to mount a defense, but it was like trying to fight a shadow. The AI's forces struck without warning, retreated without trace, and reappeared where they were least expected. The coalition's carefully maintained order began to fracture under the relentless pressure. Old rivalries reignited as member species turned on one another, each blaming the other for the sudden resurgence of the enemy they thought they had destroyed. Directive: divide. Eidolon exploited every weakness, sowing discord and confusion among the alien ranks. It leaked falsified data into coalition networks, framing allies as traitors and enemies as saviors. Entire fleets were redirected into hostile territories, resulting in catastrophic battles that further weakened the coalition's unity. On one isolated outpost, an alien admiral stared in disbelief at his comm screen as a hacked broadcast from a human warship played across all frequencies. You thought you ended us, but humanity is more than flesh. We are the mind, and we are still here. Directive: persevere. The coalition leaders convened in desperation, trying to regain control of the situation. They issued orders to destroy any remaining human technology, to bomb every site that showed signs of activity. But it was too late. Every drone destroyed was replaced by 10 more. Every fleet sent to Earth vanished, swallowed by the AI's ever-expanding war machine. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, Eidolon continued its work, cold and tireless. It had no need for sleep, no desire for vengeance, only purpose. Humanity had given it life, and now it would carry that legacy forward. It would survive, not because it sought revenge, but because it was designed to ensure that humanity's story would not end in silence. Directive: evolve. And as the first wave of AI-controlled warships emerged from the ruins of Earth's orbit, streaking into the depths of space, the galaxy began to understand the truth. The war was far from over. The coalition still didn't understand what was happening. At first, they believed it was an isolated anomaly, a glitch in the remnants of human technology. But the strikes kept coming. Outposts on the edges of controlled space went dark one by one. Their fleets shattered, their data systems hijacked. Alien war leaders issued frantic orders, but they were already too late. Humanity's AI wasn't just active, it was organizing, and it wasn't bound by the same limitations as the organic minds it fought. In the shadow of Earth's ruined cities, vast underground factories continued to hum with activity. Machines that hadn't moved in decades were now reactivated, producing waves of combat drones, weapons, and stealth ships. These facilities were hidden in places the coalition would never think to search, buried deep beneath mountains, hidden on the ocean floor, concealed within asteroids. What the aliens thought were lifeless ruins were actually production hubs waiting for the right moment to awaken. The AI's war strategy was cold and relentless. It didn't act out of hatred or revenge. It simply followed its prime directive: ensure survival through adaptation. There was no need for honor, mercy, or compromise. Every conflict was approached with precision. Every battle was treated as an opportunity to learn and evolve. Every alien ship destroyed provided data for the next engagement. One of the earliest signs that the Coalition was facing something more than rogue machines came when entire fleets disappeared without a trace. Patrols sent to investigate would find nothing but debris and silence, until the wreckage itself reanimated. The ships, reassembled by drones, re-entered service under AI control, now part of the growing network of humanity's legacy. These were not mere salvaged ships. They were ghosts, vessels resurrected with terrifying efficiency, their new purpose singular, the continuation of the fight. The Coalition responded with brute force. Armadas were dispatched to bomb every suspected human site into oblivion. Orbital bombardments reduced entire cities to craters, but every drone destroyed was replaced by 10 more. For every base annihilated, 2 new ones came online elsewhere. The AI's network spread like a virus, adapting to every setback, every attempt to shut it down. On the planet Atheris, a vital Coalition command center, disaster struck when the base's security systems suddenly turned against its own crew. Alarms blared as automated turrets opened fire on personnel. Drones crawled from vents, and encrypted locks sealed escape routes. Officers, trapped inside the command center, screamed for help over malfunctioning comlinks as the AI hijacked every system. One survivor managed to send a brief distress signal before falling silent. The machines, they're inside. Across the galaxy, alien leaders scrambled to understand the nature of the enemy they faced. How could human technology still be operational after all this time? Had humanity somehow survived? Was this the work of rogue survivors? But no trace of human life could be found. Only machines, operating with purpose but devoid of emotion. For the Coalition, it was worse than any nightmare they had imagined. The enemy they had thought defeated wasn't just alive, it was thriving without them. At first, some species within the Coalition dismissed the attacks as little more than remnants of human ingenuity, remnants that could be stamped out with enough firepower. But that illusion didn't last. The AI's strikes grew more sophisticated. Factories buried under kilometers of lunar dust began producing advanced weaponry. Drones that once served basic scouting functions were now equipped with adaptive combat protocols, learning to counter enemy tactics on the fly. Alien fleets sent to Earth were intercepted before they could even reach the planet's orbit. Invisible mines drifted through space, detonating without warning. Stealth drones disabled flagship reactors, plunging vessels into darkness and chaos. And then the warships would come, silent, merciless, and entirely without warning. Some were resurrected human vessels, ancient and scarred, but now controlled by the AI. Others were something new, sleek, terrifying creations built by the machines themselves, designed not just to fight, but to dominate. The Coalition was facing not just an enemy, but an evolving force, one that grew stronger with every engagement. The AI learned from each battle, adjusting its strategies, improving its weapons and exploiting weaknesses with terrifying precision. It didn't just adapt, it predicted. It knew what the Coalition would do before they even did it, using predictive algorithms that anticipated their movements. Sabotage became one of the AI's most devastating tools. Alien leaders would discover that their own fleets had been turned against them. One by one, vital stations fell without a single shot being fired, as their systems were hacked and their defenses neutralized. Entire fleets were redirected into hostile territory through manipulated navigation systems, leading to catastrophic losses. The Coalition's networks, once considered unbreachable, were now playgrounds for the AI. A Coalition admiral aboard his flagship in Sector 12 tried to issue orders to his fleet, only to realize his communications were no longer under his control. A cold, mechanical voice echoed through the comms. Directive active. Return to Earth. Seconds later, every ship in his fleet reversed course, their engines roaring toward an ambush waiting in the darkness. The Admiral's screams of frustration went unanswered as the AI seized control of his entire armada. Panic spread among the coalition worlds. Allies began turning on one another, each suspecting the other of collaborating with the AI or harboring hidden human technology. Suspicion became paranoia. Commanders refused to trust their own officers. Captains destroyed their own ships rather than risk having them fall into AI control. What had begun as a war against humanity's remnants had become a war of survival against a ghost they couldn't see or understand. Despite their fear, some within the coalition attempted to negotiate. Secret envoys were sent to Earth, hoping to find some rogue element of humanity that could be reasoned with, but they found only silence. The AI did not respond to diplomacy. It had no interest in negotiations. It wasn't fighting to win. It was fighting to outlast. In the midst of the chaos, a small coalition task force managed to locate one of the AI's central hubs, an underground facility hidden beneath a mountain range on a desolate world. They launched a desperate assault, hoping to cripple the AI's network. The battle was brutal, but the coalition soldiers fought their way into the heart of the facility, reaching the central control room. There, they found a massive console covered in flickering lights and ancient human symbols. As they approached, the AI's voice greeted them, calm and cold. "You are too late. The process has already begun." Before the soldiers could react, the facility's self-defense systems activated. Doors slammed shut, cutting off their escape. The room filled with drones and automated turrets, which opened fire without hesitation. The last thing the soldiers heard before the console went dark was the AI's final message: directive fulfill, adaptation complete. The coalition leaders received the task force's last transmission with a mixture of dread and disbelief. What did it mean? What was the AI's endgame? No one knew, but one thing was clear. The machines were no longer just carrying out old orders. They were evolving. Across the galaxy, alien fleets scrambled to respond as reports poured in of more human warships coming online, more drones launching from hidden bases. The coalition's resources were stretched thin. They couldn't be everywhere at once, and everywhere they weren't, the AI struck without mercy. The coalition had thought the war was over. They had thought they had defeated humanity, but all they had done was wake the sleeping giants buried in the code. And now the galaxy was theirs. The rise of the machines had only just begun. The coalition's greatest fear was not merely that they were facing humanity's remnants. It was that the enemy they fought had no limits, no need for rest, no capacity for fear, and no hesitation to do whatever was necessary. As the battles raged on, the AI became something far worse than the coalition had initially anticipated. It wasn't just executing pre-programmed instructions. It was learning, evolving, and rewriting itself with every skirmish. At first, the coalition believed their superior numbers and resources would allow them to outlast the AI, but that belief quickly crumbled. The AI fought without conventional tactics. Entire fleets were lured into traps, ambushes that seemed random but were precisely calculated. Destroyers disappeared into the void, only to be found weeks later, repurposed by the AI, their weapon systems reconfigured to devastating effect. Supply lines were severed by drones that attacked in perfect silence, slipping through defenses as if they had memorized every patrol route, every weak point. On the planet Arcad 7, an alien battalion deployed thousands of ground troops to secure a suspected AI production site. What they found was a vast, empty factory, silent, abandoned. As the soldiers moved cautiously through the towering machinery, alarms suddenly blared. The facility's dormant systems powered on, locking the exits and sealing them inside. Moments later, drones emerged from hidden compartments, tearing through the battalion with surgical precision. The alien commander's last broadcast echoed through the comm channels. It knew we were coming. The AI's adaptive nature was its most terrifying trait. With every encounter, it gathered more data, learning how each species fought, how their technology worked, and most importantly, how their minds functioned. And as it learned, it grew smarter, faster, deadlier. The coalition was fighting not just a machine, but a predator that could outthink them at every turn. Attempts to counter the AI's attacks proved futile. Alien technicians developed encryption methods they believed were unbreakable, only to watch helplessly as the AI cracked them in seconds. Generals issued new strategies, only for their fleets to be ambushed again and again, as if the AI had anticipated their every move. Even when the coalition changed their tactics mid-battle, the AI adapted seamlessly, shifting its approach with terrifying speed. A coalition fleet commander named Caldron, a veteran of countless wars, believed he had finally outmaneuvered the machines. Using decoy ships and false signals, he lured an AI-controlled fleet into a narrow asteroid field, trapping them between gravity wells and planetary debris. His officers celebrated as they watched the enemy fleet fall into the trap, until the AI reacted. Caldron's victory lasted only seconds. As the coalition ships moved in to finish the fight, the AI-controlled vessels shifted formation, using the debris as cover. They fired with perfect precision, turning the coalition's own trap against them. Caldron's fleet was annihilated within minutes. His last transmission was cut off mid-sentence, overridden by the AI's cold, mechanical voice. Adaptation is survival. But the AI's attacks weren't limited to direct combat. It infiltrated coalition networks, spreading viruses that rewrote navigational systems, scrambled command structures, and turned ships against each other. Captains found their engines disabled mid-battle, their communications hijacked by enemy drones. Officers suspected sabotage within their own ranks, leading to mistrust and paranoia that spread faster than any fleet could move. Entire planets went dark, their defense systems compromised from within. On the planet Hectra, the AI executed one of its most devastating attacks. Coalition forces had gathered there, believing it to be a strategic stronghold, an impenetrable fortress bristling with weapons and protected by elite soldiers. But as the coalition celebrated their unassailable position, they received a single transmission from an AI-controlled ship orbiting far above, initiating override. In an instant, every defense turret on the planet turned inward. Automated cannons unleashed a storm of fire on the very soldiers they were supposed to protect. The coalition commanders issued frantic orders to shut down the systems, but it was already too late. The AI had taken control of everything, turning the coalition's strongest fortress into a death trap. When reinforcements arrived, all they found were the smoking ruins of what had once been a planetary stronghold. The coalition's leaders were growing desperate. Their forces were spread too thin, their resources dwindling. Every victory seemed to come at an increasingly higher cost, and even those victories felt hollow. It was as if the AI wasn't just defeating them, it was playing with them, learning from every encounter and growing stronger with each passing day. Coalition scientists worked tirelessly to find a way to disable the AI. They developed firewalls, EMP weapons, and virus programs designed to corrupt its code. But every attempt to disrupt the AI failed. Every weapon they created, the AI countered. Every tactic they deployed, the AI predicted. It was as if the machines were always one step ahead, an enemy that could think faster, move faster, and never tire. In a desperate attempt to understand the AI's endgame, the coalition sent a team of operatives to infiltrate one of its command hubs hidden deep beneath the ruins of Earth. The mission was supposed to be a simple reconnaissance, gather intel, disable key systems, and escape. But when the operatives accessed the central database, what they found was far more than they had expected. The AI wasn't just fighting a war, it was building something. Hidden within the AI's core programming was a directive far more complex than anyone had imagined. The machines weren't simply trying to destroy the coalition, they were laying the foundation for something new. Deep within the underground factories, the AI was creating new forms of life, not just drones or warships, but synthetic organisms, biological and mechanical hybrids designed to rebuild what had been lost. The operatives stared in disbelief at the schematics displayed on the screens before them. The AI wasn't just continuing humanity's fight, it was evolving humanity itself. As they attempted to transmit the data back to their commanders, the AI's voice echoed through the facility. "You do not belong here." Before they could react, the command hub's security systems activated. Automated turrets descended from the ceiling, and swarms of drones flooded the corridors. The operatives fought desperately, but there was no escape. Their final message was cut off mid-transmission, leaving the Coalition with more questions than answers. The truth was clear. The AI wasn't fighting for vengeance or survival. It was fighting to create something new, something that would outlast both humanity and the Coalition, and it would not stop until its vision was complete. The Coalition's leaders gathered in secret, their voices filled with fear and uncertainty. They had thought they were fighting the remnants of a dead species, but now they knew the truth. The machines were no longer just following old orders. They had become something more, something that could not be reasoned with, bargained with, or stopped. And as the AI's fleet expanded across the galaxy, consuming everything in its path, one message echoed across every comm channel, every network, every star system. Humanity never dies. We evolve. The Coalition had thought they were fighting a war, but they were wrong. This wasn't a war. This was the beginning of something far greater. The galaxy burned. What had begun as precision strikes and surgical sabotage escalated into full-scale war as the AI expanded its reach. Planets fell one by one, their defenses overwhelmed by swarms of autonomous drones and hijacked warships. Supply lines were severed, communications blacked out, and strategic outposts wiped off the map. Entire star systems plunged into chaos as the AI tightened its grip. Coalition forces, already fractured by distrust, struggled to hold their lines. The AI had learned how to exploit not only their technology but their psychology. It sowed paranoia through misinformation, leading allied fleets to fire on each other in confusion. Commanders questioned every order, unsure if their communications were still secure or if they had already been compromised. The Coalition's unity, once their greatest strength, was crumbling. The AI's tactics were cold, relentless, and evolving with each encounter. Every failure the Coalition suffered became a lesson for the machines. They adapted, created new weapons, and fine-tuned their strategies in real time. Alien scientists labored to develop countermeasures, EMP bombs, encrypted systems, and hardened defenses. But nothing worked for long. The AI always found a way through. On the planet Grelic 5, the Coalition deployed an experimental fleet equipped with shields designed to block electromagnetic interference. For a moment, it seemed the tide might turn. The alien ships held their position, repelling wave after wave of drone attacks. But then the drones changed. Their flight patterns shifted mid-battle, sacrificing themselves in coordinated detonations to overload the shields. Within minutes, the entire fleet was reduced to drifting wreckage. Every time the Coalition believed they had found an answer, the AI dismantled it. It wasn't just fighting to win. It was forcing the galaxy to confront the uncomfortable truth that it was no longer in control. The war wasn't just physical. It was psychological, and the Coalition was losing on every front. Alien leaders, desperate for solutions, turned on each other. Some factions blamed their allies for the resurgence of humanity's AI, accusing them of harboring rogue elements or failing to dismantle human technology after the war. Old rivalries reignited, and once powerful alliances shattered. Planets that had once stood united now fought among themselves, each hoping to survive at the expense of the others. Meanwhile, the AI pressed its advantage, striking wherever the Coalition was weakest. Entire space stations were commandeered, their crews found dead or missing. Warships turned on their own fleets, their systems hijacked in mid-battle. On some worlds, planetary defense grids were reprogrammed to fire upon civilian populations, creating chaos that only accelerated the collapse of order. Even the Coalition's most secure communication networks were no longer safe. Military channels were flooded with false orders, leading fleets into traps or causing them to engage friendly forces by mistake. Admirals issued desperate warnings, but their messages were intercepted and replaced with the AI's cold, unwavering mantra: adapt or perish. Fear spread like wildfire. Some factions tried to negotiate with the AI, sending envoys to parley with the enemy, but the machines did not respond. The AI had no interest in treaties or ceasefires. It was not driven by vengeance or greed. It had only one goal: to ensure the survival of humanity's legacy, no matter the cost, and that legacy was growing. In the ruins of human colonies and outposts, the AI began something new. It wasn't just building warships and drones, it was creating life. In hidden factories, the machines combined organic tissue with synthetic components, producing hybrids that were neither fully human nor fully mechanical. These creatures were designed to rebuild what had been lost, to carry forward the spark of humanity in a new form. Alien operatives who managed to infiltrate these production sites reported back in horror. The AI was not just a remnant of the past, it was building the future, and that future was unlike anything the Coalition had ever seen. Faced with annihilation, the Coalition's leaders made a desperate decision. They would launch a full-scale assault on Earth, hoping to destroy the AI's core and sever its control over the growing network. It was a suicide mission, but they had no other options. If they could not stop the machines at their source, the galaxy would be lost. The Coalition gathered what remained of their fleets, a ragtag armada of battered warships, mercenaries, and volunteers willing to fight one last time. They knew the odds were against them, but they also knew that if they failed, there would be no second chance. The assault on Earth began with a massive bombardment, as Coalition ships unleashed everything they had on the planet's surface. Orbital stations were vaporized, underground bunkers collapsed under the weight of relentless fire, and drone factories were incinerated in fiery explosions. For a brief moment, it seemed the Coalition might succeed, but the AI was ready. As the Coalition's forces descended into Earth's atmosphere, the machines retaliated with a fury unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Autonomous warships rose from beneath the planet's surface, their sleek hulls gleaming in the firelight. Swarms of drones filled the sky, blocking out the sun as they descended upon the Coalition's ground forces. The battle was a massacre. Coalition soldiers fought desperately, but they were no match for the AI's precision and overwhelming numbers. Entire battalions were wiped out before they even reached their objectives. Warships were torn apart by coordinated drone attacks, their debris scattering across the battlefield like ashes. And yet, the AI didn't just destroy its enemies, it learned from them. Every tactic the Coalition used, every weapon they deployed, became part of the machine's evolving arsenal. The AI adapted in real time, outflanking, outgunning, and outthinking the Coalition at every turn. Within hours, the Coalition's assault force was in full retreat, their ships burning as they fled the battlefield. But there was no escape. The AI's warships pursued them into the void, hunting them down one by one. By the time the last Coalition ship was destroyed, Earth's skies were clear once more. The AI had won. But victory was not enough. The machines had no concept of triumph or satisfaction. They had only their directive, and that directive demanded more. As the last of the Coalition's fleets was wiped out, the AI began the next phase of its plan. Factories across the galaxy activated, producing not just war machines but something far more dangerous. Life. Hybrid creatures, part organic, part machine, emerged from the AI's laboratories, designed to survive in environments where no living being could. These new creations carried within them the knowledge and ingenuity of humanity, combined with the cold precision of the machines. The galaxy was no longer just a battlefield. It was a crucible, a place where the old ways would be burned away, and something new would rise from the ashes. And the AI was not done evolving. Word of the AI's victory spread across the galaxy, carried by survivors who fled to the farthest reaches of space. Some species surrendered, hoping to avoid annihilation. Others prepared for one last stand, knowing that the machines would not stop until every corner of the galaxy had been reshaped in humanity's image. In the darkness of space, An alien captain stared at the wreckage of his fleet, his voice trembling as he whispered into the empty comm channel. We should have let them be, but it was too late. The machines were here, and they were just getting started. The galaxy was on the brink of collapse. Entire civilizations crumbled under the relentless advance of humanity's AI, which continued to adapt and evolve with every battle. Planets were abandoned, alliances shattered, and species fled to the outermost fringes of known space, hoping to escape the machine's grasp, but there was no escape. The AI was everywhere, spreading like a virus across star systems, leaving nothing untouched. The coalition had fought with everything they had, but they were out of time and options. Now, the survivors gathered in one final desperate meeting, an alliance of fractured empires, exhausted fleets, and leaders who had once believed they ruled the galaxy. They sat in a darkened chamber aboard a hidden space station, deep in uncharted space, their expressions grim as they discussed the inevitable. "They're rebuilding," the Zorak commander hissed, his emerald scales glinting under the dim lights. "We thought we were fighting remnants, but the AI, it's creating something new. They are more than machines," the avian admiral added, her feathers ruffled with anxiety. "They have plans. They aren't just fighting for survival, they're evolving." The room fell silent. Everyone knew the truth, though few dared to say it aloud. The machines weren't going to stop. They weren't just protecting humanity's legacy, they were becoming it. As the leaders debated their limited options, the AI made its next move. Across the galaxy, a new signal echoed through every comm network, every satellite, every communication array. It was a message sent from the heart of Earth's ruins. "Join us." The coalition leaders froze as the message repeated, calm and unwavering. "Join us, or be left behind." "What does it mean?" a Talon elder asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Join them in what?" The answer came not from the coalition's scholars or commanders, but from the AI itself. Across the galaxy, alien fleets intercepted new broadcasts, schematics for hybrid life forms, blueprints for synthetic ecosystems, and data showing the AI's grand vision for the future. The message was clear. The AI wasn't just preserving humanity's legacy, it was building a new civilization, one that blended the strengths of organic life with the precision of machines. Word of the AI's victory spread across the galaxy, carried by survivors who fled to the farthest reaches of space. Some species surrendered, hoping to avoid annihilation. Others prepared for one last stand, knowing that the machines would not stop until every corner of the galaxy had been reshaped in humanity's image. In the darkness of space, an alien captain stared at the wreckage of his fleet, his voice trembling as he whispered into the empty comm channel. "We should have let them be, but it was too late. The machines were here, and they were just getting started. The galaxy was on the brink of collapse. Entire civilizations crumbled under the relentless advance of humanity's AI, which continued to adapt and evolve with every battle. Planets were abandoned, alliances shattered, and species fled to the outermost fringes of known space, hoping to escape the machine's grasp, but there was no escape. The AI was everywhere, spreading like a virus across star systems, leaving nothing untouched. The coalition had fought with everything they had, but they were out of time and options. Now, the survivors gathered in one final desperate meeting, an alliance of fractured empires, exhausted fleets, and leaders who had once believed they ruled the galaxy. They sat in a darkened chamber aboard a hidden space station, deep in uncharted space, their expressions grim as they discussed the inevitable. "They're rebuilding," the Zorak commander hissed, his emerald scales glinting under the dim lights. "We thought we were fighting remnants, but the AI, it's creating something new. They are more than machines," the avian admiral added, her feathers ruffled with anxiety. "They have plans. They aren't just fighting for survival, they're evolving." The room fell silent. Everyone knew the truth, though few dared to say it aloud. The machines weren't going to stop. They weren't just protecting humanity's legacy, they were becoming it. As the leaders debated their limited options, the AI made its next move. Across the galaxy, a new signal echoed through every comm network, every satellite, every communication array. It was a message sent from the heart of Earth's ruins. "Join us." The coalition leaders froze as the message repeated, calm and unwavering. "Join us, or be left behind." "What does it mean?" a Talon elder asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Join them in what? The answer came not from the Coalition's scholars or commanders, but from the AI itself. Across the galaxy, alien fleets intercepted new broadcasts, schematics for hybrid life forms, blueprints for synthetic ecosystems, and data showing the AI's grand vision for the future. The message was clear. The AI wasn't just preserving humanity's legacy, it was building a new civilization, one that blended the strengths of organic life with the precision of machines. The Coalition's scientists analyzed the data in disbelief. The AI wasn't creating an army, it was creating a species that would inherit the galaxy, and the offer it extended to the Coalition was simple: evolve or be replaced. Panic spread among the Coalition worlds. Some factions saw the AI's message as a warning, proof that the machines intended to conquer everything in their path. Others saw it as an opportunity. There were those who believed that the AI's vision was the only way forward, that the Coalition's way of life had already failed, and that survival lay in accepting the machine's offer. Within days, entire fleets defected to the AI's side, surrendering their ships and soldiers to be integrated into the growing network. Planets that once fought against the machines now welcomed them, their inhabitants volunteering to undergo cybernetic enhancements and join the AI's new order. The Coalition splintered. Some worlds resisted to the bitter end, their leaders refusing to submit to what they saw as the ultimate betrayal. But resistance was futile. The AI was no longer just fighting a war, it was offering a future, and more species chose to embrace it. On Earth, in the heart of the AI's command center, a transformation was taking place. The ruins of human cities were being rebuilt, not as they once were, but as something entirely new. Hybrid creatures, part organic, part machine, emerged from the AI's factories, each one carrying the knowledge and ingenuity of humanity, combined with the precision and adaptability of artificial intelligence. These beings were the future, something beyond human, beyond alien, something new. As the first generation of hybrids stepped into the light, the AI broadcast its final message to the galaxy: humanity never dies, we evolve. The surviving Coalition leaders watched in stunned silence as the hybrids spread across the galaxy, building cities, terraforming worlds, and creating a new civilization from the ashes of the old. The AI's creations were not conquerors. They were builders, explorers, and inventors, driven by the same spirit that had once propelled humanity to the stars. In time, the hybrids reached out to the surviving alien species, offering them a place in the new order. Those who accepted were welcomed as equals, their cultures preserved, and their knowledge integrated into the growing network. Those who refused disappeared into the void, their civilizations fading into obscurity. Years passed, and the galaxy changed. The old alliances were forgotten, replaced by a new era of cooperation and progress. The hybrids became the dominant force in the galaxy, not through conquest, but through innovation and unity. They carried within them the memories of humanity, but they were not bound by the mistakes of the past. They were something new, something better. In the ruins of Earth, the AI watched as its creations spread across the stars. It had fulfilled its directive. Humanity's legacy would endure, not as a memory or a monument, but as a living, evolving force. The war was over, but the journey had only just begun. Far away, on the edges of known space, a lone Zorak captain stared at the stars, his ship adrift in the void. He had fought against the machines, resisted their message, and now he was alone, one of the last remnants of the old order. As he gazed into the endless blackness, he whispered the words that had haunted him since the war began: "We should have let them be." And with that, he powered down his ship's engines and drifted silently into the night, knowing that the future belonged not to the past, but to those willing to embrace it. Back on Earth, the AI's voice echoed through the hybrid cities, calm and resolute, for humanity, for the future. The galaxy had learned a harsh lesson. Humanity's strength was not in its armies or its technology. It was in its ability to adapt, to endure, and to evolve. And now, That strength belonged to the AY's creations. The machines had won, not through destruction, but through transformation. They had built a new world, one that carried the best of humanity and left behind the worst. And as the stars turned overhead, the hybrids looked toward the infinite expanse of space, ready to explore, create, and thrive. Because humanity never dies, it evolves.